I'm joined by the one, the only, the national champion, head coach of the Laval Rouge, Glen Constantin. Glen, thanks for joining us.
You're welcome.
You know, you've had so many of these things, and if you ask a guy like Red Auerbach, or if you ask anyone, maybe even a Tom Brady, what was it like to win this championship in comparison to the other championships? They could give you different answers about different teams. How different was this championship in comparison to all the others?
Oh, there's a couple of things. Actually, the first that comes to mind to me is that we're a much younger team. We only have a handful of guys who are fourth and fifth year guys. So we had a bunch of young guys who actually had to compete against Montreal for the last 2 or 3 years or 4 years for some of the guys, which is a very difficult task. And to play them 3 times in a row in the same season it is difficult. And that I thought that we, as a young team, we grew up and matured quickly during the season and to peak at the right time, obviously.
There was a team that beat the Calgary Dinos in Quebec City for the Vanier Cup. I'm trying to place. I think it might be about 2015, 2016, where you had a young team that matured quickly. Are those two teams similar?
Very much so. I mean, the only thing is we have a senior quarterback who should come back for a fifth year, but the rest of the team was very young also. So it's a good comparison.
Talk to me about the play of Arnaud Desjardins throughout this year. He was really on the offensive side, the straw that stirred the drink, wasn't he?
Yes, yes, and it's a good story because he should I don't think he was the head credit nominee. He wasn't a winner, but he was certainly the comeback player of the year for us. He had a really tough 23 season, and to his credit, he bounced back. He worked very hard since January, and I think he grew up as a leader. And he's obviously in the Bank Cup he was like 22 for 22 at one point. He was I say he's kind of a game manager. He's like a point guard. He distributes the ball very well. But I mean, that doesn't make him just because he's a better quarterback than just a manager. But he had a great season. I think he threw 2 picks during the whole season, and for like whatever number of touchdowns, he was definitely the point guard of our offense, and he did a great job at that.
The group of us just had a discussion about coaching earlier on the show. And, I want to talk a little bit about CJEP and the impact that it has on teams in Quebec. And quite frankly, on our national team. Canada would not have won a World Junior Championship gold medal if it wasn't for the 21 kids from CJEP that were playing on that team. They were the absolute backbone. They were well trained. How much does the CJEP system mean to everyone at the next level in the RSEQ, and how does it make your job easier?
Well, I think there's the twofold. I think if you look at I think Quebec is one of the best coached provinces in the country, and that goes. I mean, I think it'd be Saskatchewan as being the other one, and in Ontario. And if you look at the Canada Cup, often these teams are in the finals because the first argument that people say about CJEP kids are older, but in the U18s they're all U18s. I think there's a lot of stuff that goes into this, and I think like the CJEP is a good system. I think it's very competitive. It's basically like a JUCO a JUCO system. The coaches there are basically making head coach money in some of the CIS in the youth sports system. So they're very well coached. It's a serious program. It's like not like I would venture to say a kid who plays in Ontario plays football until November. Then he turns to basketball or track, and but these kids are football players. They actually train year round, and it's taken very very seriously. So it's definitely creates an edge for us, and it helps us on national level in recruiting. And when we get a player, he's a bit more mature and physically ready to play university football.
Is it something that can be duplicated anywhere else in Canada, though? I mean, I've taken a look at the age range that's there, the alignment with education, the support the government gives it. I'm not sure if this is something that could ever be duplicated. The closest that you could come to is what the CJFL does in regard to like a St. Clair College and
Yes,
working with that. But that's about as close as it gets, isn't it?
I think so. I mean, the the school system are much different, and it's difficult to fund these teams like a St. Clair College. That would be the close, obviously, but I think it would be it's they're far and few between these schools.
What about the support that you get from the syndicate that supports your program within Laval, and the support that you get from the community? I've tried to explain it to people from outside of Quebec that the folks in Quebec really feel a sense of ownership when their boys are on the field, unlike some other parts of the rest of Canada. How would you describe that relationship that you have with the investment community that supports the team and the greater community overall?
Well, if I start with the community, it's it goes back to in Quebec City. The fans are very passionate. They lost the Nordiques in '95, and the football team started in '95, so it basically transferred over to the football team it's a team that belongs to the city. Like our student body does not come out now all that much. I would say they're probably 10 or 20% of our attendance kind of thing, but it's a very tight knit community, and they're very proud of their football team, and obviously it shows in the attendance. With regards to our team, kind of sell is basically it's a grouping of several businessmen who started that a long time ago, basically as a charity case, basically, and now it's a very good it's perceived very well to be a sponsor of the football team, and the success we have on and off the field.
Yeah, we had Brian Doby on here earlier this year. He was in his final year as a coach, and I'm not saying that you should retire any day too soon, but I do know that you like to have camps occasionally in Florida, and so Florida is a retirement place. How much longer could you keep going doing this and winning championships?
Well, to me, like I never worked a day in my life. I love my job. I get to go to work, and I'm not a big golfer. I'm not a fisherman. I'm not a hunter. I don't really have that many hobbies. And if I just took the weekend off and went to see the Patriots in Boston College play, so that's my hobby. So, and I've been part of a team all my life, so it'd be hard for me to just go home and be just by myself and not do anything. I basically as long as I can be productive and make this team progress and make our sport progress is beyond. And I had these other projects in the past, which that's one that I actually would love to do. But as long as I'm still healthy and I still have the desire to come to work every day, and I'm wanted here, I'll stay here as long as I can.